In 1917, a cargo ship exploded mysteriously in a harbor, sending a tsunami of fiery oil that ignited the entire waterfront and turned the night into a hellscape of flame and smoke. A massive glacier cracked in Antarctica, unleashing a wall of ice so large it triggered earthquakes felt across the southern hemisphere and altered global ocean currents. A mysterious fog rolled over a village, muting all sound and causing clocks to stop, while residents reported seeing shadowy figures that vanished upon approach. In 1973, a chemical plant leak created a cloud that turned the sky blood red and caused hallucinations among thousands, sparking chaos and mass evacuation amid apocalyptic fear. A ship trapped in Arctic ice was swallowed by a sudden crack, dragging crew and cargo into the frozen abyss, leaving behind only haunting distress signals in the static. A volcanic eruption released clouds of toxic gas so dense they suffocated wildlife within minutes, leaving vast swaths of forest eerily silent and lifeless for years. A river mysteriously reversed its flow for 48 hours after an underground earthquake, bewildering locals and disrupting ecosystems in ways that are still unexplained today. During a solar eclipse, strange lights danced across the sky, followed by electronic devices failing en masse and animals fleeing their habitats in panic without apparent cause. A lightning strike ignited an underground coal mine, trapping hundreds of miners as toxic gases spread, their desperate signals cut off abruptly in a nightmare beneath the earth. In 2001, a freak tsunami formed in a lake after a massive landslide, flooding nearby towns and destroying infrastructure that had never been designed for such an event. A forest fire created a self-sustaining fire tornado that spun with such ferocity it lifted burning debris miles into the air, scorching landscapes far beyond its origin point. In the depths of a cave, explorers discovered a crystal cavern glowing with bioluminescent minerals, but exposure caused intense hallucinations and inexplicable disappearances. A rogue asteroid grazed Earth's atmosphere, lighting up the night sky with blue flames and leaving behind a trail of metallic dust that temporarily altered weather patterns across continents. A massive floodgate failure released a torrent that carved new canyons overnight, washing away entire communities and leaving behind landscapes that look alien and untouched by man. A strange plague caused trees to weep black sap, poisoning the soil and driving wildlife into madness, creating a cursed forest that locals avoid at all costs. A colossal, unexplained whirlpool opened suddenly off a busy shipping lane, dragging entire cargo ships beneath the waves within minutes and leaving eerie silence behind. In 1947, a freak electrical storm caused streetlights across an entire city to ignite simultaneously, turning the night into a blinding inferno of sparks and smoke. A remote mountain village was buried overnight by a mysterious landslide of glowing rocks, leaving trails of strange radiation and baffling scientists for decades. During an Arctic expedition, explorers encountered a frozen lake that emitted haunting, low-frequency sounds, believed to be the ice singing before cracking catastrophically. A rogue comet passed so close to Earth it disrupted satellite communications and caused massive power outages across multiple continents in a cosmic warning no one expected. In 1963, a chemical explosion in an industrial zone created a toxic cloud so thick it blocked the sun for hours, turning day into night and forcing mass evacuations. A rare seismic event triggered geysers of boiling mud to erupt in a populated valley, swallowing farmland and homes in a churning sea of heat and destruction. A tsunami generated by an underwater landslide struck a small island with no warning, washing away entire villages and leaving behind surreal images of desolation and hope. In 1999, a meteorite impact formed a crater larger than a city block, scattering debris for miles and igniting wildfires that raged for weeks in the surrounding forests. A blackout lasting days plunged a major metropolis into chaos, where looting, eerie silence, and candlelit streets painted a chilling portrait of modern vulnerability. An ancient burial ground was uncovered during construction, releasing toxic gases that cause illness and hallucinations among workers and nearby residents. A mysterious glowing fog settled over a coastal town, causing electronic devices to malfunction and animals to behave erratically, fueling local legends of supernatural interference. A freak firestorm swept through a desert town, igniting vehicles and homes in a fiery wave so fast it left no time for evacuation. In 1886, an earthquake triggered a massive landslide that buried a railroad station, halting progress and trapping passengers underground for days. A giant sinkhole swallowed a popular hiking trail, revealing a hidden cave system filled with ancient, perfectly preserved fossils and startling artifacts. A violent ice storm coated a city in thick layers of ice, snapping trees and power lines while turning roads into deadly sheets of glass. A rogue wave smashed into a luxury cruise liner, flooding multiple decks and causing a terrifying scramble for survival among passengers and crew. In 1974, a sudden volcanic eruption blanketed a farming region in ash, destroying crops overnight and forcing mass migrations in search of food. An abandoned factory mysteriously caught fire, burning for weeks with no visible cause or source, baffling firefighters and investigators alike. A freak electrical storm struck a dense jungle, igniting multiple wildfires that merged into a vast inferno, consuming thousands of acres of ancient forest. A massive dust devil swallowed an entire herd of cattle, tossing them skyward before depositing them unharmed miles away, leaving stunned ranchers in disbelief. In 1991, a gas pipeline explosion destroyed a mountain village, leaving a crater and obliterating everything for miles around. A bizarre, unexplained blackout enveloped a region during a solar eclipse, causing widespread panic as communication and power failed simultaneously. A toxic algae bloom spread rapidly through a major lake, killing fish and poisoning drinking water, with eerie red waters visible for miles from the air. In 2018, a glacier unexpectedly calved, sending massive icebergs crashing into a fjord and triggering tsunamis that devastated coastal communities. A freak hailstorm in 2020 dumped golf ball-sized ice on a city, smashing cars and damaging roofs while leaving streets littered with frozen wreckage. A mysterious glow appeared over a forgotten battlefield at midnight, revealing ghostly silhouettes reenacting the final moments of a long-lost war. In 1934, a deadly tornado lifted an entire farmhouse off its foundation, spinning it like a top before dropping it intact miles away in a field of shattered trees. A sudden flash flood turned a popular hiking trail into a raging river, sweeping away bridges and forcing desperate rescues amid roaring waters and flying debris. In 1977, a volcanic eruption released a cloud of ash that circled the globe, causing dramatic sunsets and a temporary drop in global temperatures. An abandoned mine collapsed without warning, trapping a group of explorers in total darkness and forcing them to rely on dwindling supplies and hope for rescue. A rogue wave crashed over a coastal lighthouse, knocking it off its rocky foundation and sending the keeper's emergency signal before vanishing into the stormy sea. In 1983, a severe ice storm coated an entire city in a thick glaze, snapping trees and plunging millions into darkness as the brittle ice shattered underfoot. A freak electrical storm struck a desert outpost, igniting fuel tanks and setting off a chain reaction of explosions that lit up the night sky like a fireworks show gone wrong. In 1927, a massive flood devastated the Mississippi Delta, submerging towns and farms underwater for months and forever changing the region's landscape and economy. A gigantic sinkhole opened beneath a crowded marketplace, swallowing vendors and goods instantly, and leaving behind a surreal scene of vanished commerce. In 2000, A heat wave caused asphalt to melt and roads to buckle in a major city, forcing emergency closures and leaving drivers stranded in blistering conditions. A herd of wild horses was caught in a flash fire, racing through flames with hooves pounding and smoke swirling, creating a haunting silhouette against the burning landscape. In 2014, a rare lunar eclipse coincided with a meteor shower, bathing the sky in red light and streaks of fire that awed and frightened stargazers worldwide. A catastrophic dam breach unleashed a torrent of water that carved new river channels overnight, destroying villages and farmland in its relentless wake. In 1969, a blizzard so severe stranded thousands of travelers along highways, with cars buried in snow and rescue crews battling freezing temperatures and poor visibility. A sudden swarm of locusts descended on a fertile valley, devouring crops at an alarming rate and turning lush fields into barren wastelands within days. In 2007, a volcanic mudslide engulfed a village, carrying boulders and debris with unstoppable force and burying homes under thick layers of sludge. A lightning strike ignited an ancient tree, its burning branches illuminating a dark forest as wildlife scattered in panic beneath the crackling inferno. In 1959, a sudden avalanche trapped a group of mountaineers in a remote canyon, their struggle for survival documented through haunting radio transmissions. A massive dust storm swallowed a desert town whole, turning day into night and leaving streets buried under thick layers of sand and grit. In 2012, a meteor exploded over a remote region, shattering windows and causing a sonic boom that was felt hundreds of miles away. In 1906, a devastating earthquake leveled a major city, with fires raging uncontrollably and survivors navigating through ash and rubble in search of safety. A flash flood turned a mountain pass into a raging torrent, washing away vehicles and cutting off critical supply routes for days. A sudden eruption of geysers in a quiet town sent boiling water skyward, scalding streets and trapping residents in their homes with no warning. In 1911, a mysterious blizzard buried an entire village in snow so deep that survivors had to tunnel out days later to find the outside world. In 1949, a massive flood caused a dam to burst, sending a wall of water racing through towns and obliterating bridges in its unstoppable path. In 2006, a volcanic lightning storm illuminated the night sky with electric fury, the violent contrast of fire and electricity mesmerizing and terrifying onlookers. A freak hailstorm shattered the stained glass windows of a historic cathedral, showering the interior with colorful shards that glittered like fallen jewels. A sinking glacier in the Arctic unleashed trapped methane gas, causing explosive bursts that echoed across the icy landscape and alarmed climate scientists. In 1989, a powerful earthquake caused a freeway overpass to collapse, killing dozens and becoming a grim symbol of engineering failure and human tragedy. A sudden swarm of locusts engulfed a remote village, their ravenous feeding stripping fields bare and threatening the community's very survival. During a thunderstorm, strange glowing orbs appeared in the sky above a rural town, baffling residents and sparking widespread speculation about extraterrestrial visitors. A massive sinkhole opened beneath a bustling marketplace, swallowing vendors and customers alike in a terrifying instant before sealing shut as if nothing happened. In 2003, an intense heat wave melted roads and buckled sidewalks in a major city, disrupting daily life and forcing emergency cooling centers to open for vulnerable populations. A volcanic eruption caused a river to boil and steam as it flowed, killing fish and wildlife instantly and transforming the landscape into a surreal, otherworldly scene. In 1972, a landslide buried a mountain village, trapping dozens underground and sparking a desperate rescue mission that gripped the nation. A lightning storm sparked hundreds of wildfires across a drought-stricken region, overwhelming firefighting efforts and causing widespread evacuations. In 1965, a freak hailstorm pelted a farming town with ice the size of grapefruits, destroying crops and leaving a blanket of white in the middle of summer. A river mysteriously ran red for days after toxic chemical runoff, alarming residents and prompting environmental investigations into the source of the pollution. In 2010, a massive earthquake triggered a tsunami that swallowed entire coastal towns, with harrowing stories of survival amid the relentless waves.